Hey everybody, welcome back to Vedic Sage. I'm Dr. Dhaliwal, and today we're going to be talking about how to manage rheumatoid arthritis from an Ayurvedic perspective. Ayurveda is the science of life or the science of longevity that was understood thousands of years ago. The science of Ayurveda has a very simple approach to this type of condition or this autoimmune condition, and it's in that simplicity and insightfulness that can give profound results. So we'll start off by seeing, how does this condition arise from an Ayurvedic perspective? So the Ayurvedic literature explains how the gastrointestinal tract or the GI system is the root cause of this autoimmune condition. For example, Ayurveda talks about food incompatibility or poor food combining. For example, having yogurt and fruit, meat with dairy, fish with cream. These type of combinations of food, when consumed, basically insults Agni, which is that digestive fire or the digestive capacity of the gastrointestinal tract. Now, Agni has the qualities of hot, sharp, and light. Now, if we oppose these qualities with cold, dense, and heavy, this is one way of insulting Agni. In the same manner, poor food combining or food incompatibility insults that intelligence of Agni, which leads to undigested food material known as ama and is known to be toxic to the body. Now, as this ama continues through the gastrointestinal system, it's thought to accumulate within the colon. Now, the interesting aspect is that the colon and the ashtidhatu, or the bone tissue, has a unique relationship. For instance, the minerals that are absorbed within the mucosal lining of the colon, calcium, magnesium, phosphate, zinc, all of these minerals that are absorbed in the colon are actually deposited within the bone tissue. So that unique relationship between the colon and the bone tissue will play out as we follow this pathogenesis of rheumatoid arthritis. So as we've mentioned, the accumulation of ama, or the accumulation of this toxic undigested food material within the colon, along with increased vata dosha. So vata dosha has the qualities of dry, light, rough, cold, mobile, and subtle. So this increased quality, for example, of mobility, carries the ama into the general circulation, and therefore this manifests as the rheumatic fever. So the individual can have a fever, pharyngitis, laryngitis, and interestingly, they'd start to develop this migrating pain condition because the ama is moving from joint to joint. So now let's take a look at what happens when this ama, or toxicity, travels through the blood circulation and now deposits within the bone tissue. If we look at the cellular level, and this undigested food material or toxic material now starts to cover individual cells, the immune system looks at these cells as being a foreign object or foreign substance, and therefore stimulates the immune cells. From a modern Western allopathic perspective, we look at the inflammatory cells of the immune system, and there's a lot of emphasis on tracking how does this cascade system work, whether it be the T helper cells that recognize or come in contact with this ama and stimulate the proliferation of more T cells, along with the stimulation of B cells, and B cells differentiating into plasma cells which send off antibodies. Now, this whole cascade of mechanisms is treated with immunosuppressants with modern day management. So that's a rather bold maneuver to provide an immunosuppressant drug to try to knock out this whole cascade reaction of the inflammatory immune cells. So the simple approach of Ayurveda is, instead of focusing and trying to suppress the immune system, Ayurveda focuses on the root cause, which is the impaired Agni, the development of this ama, or undigested food material, which is a toxic substance when introduced into the general circulation and therefore affecting bodily tissue. So therefore, step number one from an Ayurvedic perspective is providing adequate food combining. But you would first want to start off with a fast or light diet, and a diet consisting of rice broth, very softly cooked rice, or even tapioca will help to kindle that Agni without the production of that toxic metabolic or undigested food material known as ama. Likewise, with this rice broth or softly cooked rice or tapioca, you may want to consider certain spices to help stimulate that digestive fire. And spices that you would want to consider are cumin, nutmeg, and even ginger. So these three spices will help to stimulate that Agni as well as to help burn off that ama. So this is considered Dipan, Pachan. Dipan is to kindle that Agni fire, or the digestive fire, and Pachan is to burn off that ama or undigested food material. Likewise, Ayurveda sees the application of heat as being therapeutic. So you'd want to consider a paste in which you can apply to the inflamed joints. And this paste can be made from dry powders such as bachan, datura, and even the powder of vacha. If you were to apply water to this dry powder and make a paste out of it and apply it to the inflamed joints, and if you were to get close to a heat source like a heater and allow the paste to dry, this is thought to help bring out that toxin out of the articular surface and bring it back into the circulation and therefore help to disperse this toxin through sweating. In regards to herbs to consume, one may want to consider herbs such as Yogaraj Guglu, Kishore Guglu, along with Maharasnadi Kwath. These three herbs are bitter in nature, so therefore work as anti-inflammatory and even antipyretics, which will help with the inflammatory process and the fever process associated with rheumatic fever or rheumatoid arthritis. You may want to consider certain pungent herbs as well, such as Trikatu, which is the combination of black pepper, pipali, and ginger. This will help to stimulate that Agni or digestive fire, along with burning off this ama or this undigested food material that's within the gastrointestinal tract. Once the acute conditions are resolved, one may want to consider Panchakarma from a practitioner, Ayurvedic licensed practitioner, which will help to get rid of this excess ama that can accumulate within the colon, along with increased vata dosha, with a basti, which is an enema with medicated oils or medicated concoctions, which will help to detoxify the colon. Likewise, with Panchakarma, they also provide therapeutic vomiting, which is called vamana, which helps to remove that ama or the undigested food material within the stomach through therapeutic vomiting. The Ayurvedic literature also mentions a natural form of anti-inflammatory by taking 2 tablespoons of castor oil with ginger tea before you go to bed at night, which acts as a natural steroid, which therefore helps to manage the inflammatory process of the immune cells. And lastly, from an Ayurvedic perspective, there's a mention of medicated herbal wines that are helpful. For example, you may want to consider a draksha or even dashamula arishta. These are herbal medicated wines that will help to manage this increased vata dosha, especially within the colon, which is one of the culprits that's carrying this ama into the general circulation. So this was just a basic introduction on how Ayurveda looks at this inflammatory autoimmune condition of rheumatoid arthritis. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, take care.